Methodist Church of Ghana, and other eminent clergy, the Greater Accra Regional Minister, Member of Parliament for Ayawaso Central, and other regional ministers, Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, and Member of Parliament for Damango, the Minister for the Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation, and Member of Parliament for Sefirioso, Deputy Ministers of State, the Chief Executive of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, Chief Director, Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, the Chairperson and members of the Board of the Minerals Commission, Chief Executive Officer of the Minerals Commission, the Chief Executive Officer of the Forestry Commission, President, executives, and members of the Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners, the Canadian High Commissioner, and other members of the Diplomatic Corps, distinguished traditional rulers, Naname, fellow Ghanaians, ladies and gentlemen. On Friday, 10th June, in 4 days' time, we will be marking the 2022 edition of Green Ghana Day, when we have committed to plant some 20 million trees as part of our aggressive afforestation and reforestation program to protect our environment and thereby contribute our nation's quota to global climate action. Whilst taking these actions, it is equally important that we protect the existing natural ecosystem pollution. It is for this reason that today's event is of the utmost importance, and I want to commend the hard-working Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, the Honorable Samuel A. Jidapo, Member of Parliament for Damango, and the dedicated teams at the Ministry and the Minerals Commission for making this possible. Ladies and gentlemen, the mining sector makes a very important contribution to the generation of our country's revenues. According to the Ghana Revenue Authority, in the past 7 years, other than in 2014, the mining sector has provided the largest tax receipts, and small-scale mining's contribution to the growth of this sector has been incremental since its regularization in 1989. Today, small-scale mining accounts for some 40% of our gold exports and provides job opportunities and sources of livelihood and income for many Ghanaians. We have been for some time Africa's largest gold-producing country as a result of the contributions made by the small-scale mining sector. It is also not a secret that the sector has been, unfortunately, a major vehicle of environmental pollution and land degradation, including the threat posed to life by use of mercury in the recovery of gold and its subsequent release into the ecosystem. The solution to this, however, cannot lie in banning small-scale mining, which has been with us since time immemorial. Indeed, as far back as the 15th century, when the first Europeans, the Portuguese, arrived on our shores, the first activity they saw from their shores, from their ships, being undertaken by the indigenous people was small-scale mining, which led them to name Medina Elmina, the mine in Portuguese. On the contrary, it is to ensure that mining is carried on in a responsible manner, as was done by our ancestors, and in line with international best practices and conventions at all levels of operations. This, well, in addition to helping eliminate the associated negative practices, ensure that small-scale mining supports government's drive to optimize the earnings from mining in pursuit of development, progress, and prosperity for all Ghanaians. When I called for a national dialogue on small-scale mining, I was convinced, and I'm still convinced, that small-scale mining can and should be done sustainably. There are several of our compatriots who are mining responsibly and are employing the protocols that have been established by the Minerals Commission, and government will continue to support them, to offer them its support. However, there are still some who have vowed to seek only their selfish parochial interests at the expense of the collective national interest. These are those who pay no regard to the sanctity of our forests, water bodies, or environment. Let me assure them, the government will not relent in its efforts to flush them out of the ecosystem. In accordance with Article 36, Clause 9 of the Constitution of the Republic, the government will continue to deploy appropriate measures needed to help protect and safeguard our national environment for posterity. Ladies and gentlemen, in our efforts to help protect the environment, we've had to take far-reaching measures, such as authorizing the involvement of the military in Operation Halt, as well as decommissioning and demobilizing machines and equipment used for illegal mining in forest reserves and water bodies, which have been designated red zones for mining. Far-reaching and biting as these measures have been, they were necessary to halt and reverse the trend of ever-increasing turbidity of our waters and the continuing degradation of our lands, and to safeguard our environment for posterity. But following our heightened drive in recent times to deal with illegal mining activities in red zones, many illegal miners have lost their illegal sources of livelihood. It is to provide legitimate alternative sources of livelihood for such persons that in October last year, I launched the National Alternative Employment and Livelihood Program to mitigate the unavoidable hardships that will be faced by illegal miners. The program is intended to provide good economic livelihood options to illegal mining and its associated activities, and to enable those adversely impacted the opportunity to work and support legitimately themselves and their families. Excuse me. As part of this program, we've rolled out a national reclamation and reforestation project to reclaim degraded lands and transform them into economically viable lands, whilst creating job opportunities for the youth, landowners, and communities at large. We've also revamped the community mining scheme to promote responsible, sustainable, small-scale mining, which will support the Bank of Ghana's recent policy to purchase gold domestically to shore up its reserves and to contribute to the retention of the value of our mineral resources in our country. This morning, we're witnessing another important milestone in small-scale mining and environmental sustainability. The commissioning of 100 mercury-free gold processing equipment, commonly referred to as gold kacha. As the name suggests, it is equipment that extracts gold from the ore without the use of mercury, which has been the practice for several decades. This equipment, I'm told, also has the capacity to recover over 90% of gold from the ore, and therefore gives small-scale miners much more gold than they would have obtained from the traditional method of using mercury. In addition to our commitments under the Minamata Convention on Mercury, which is to reduce and, where feasible, eliminate the use of mercury in artisanal and small-scale mining, we owe it as a duty to protect and safeguard our environment by reducing and eventually eliminating the use of such harmful chemicals. The devastating effects of mercury pollution in the Japanese city of Minamata, where the Convention on Mercury was adopted in October 2013, represent a good guide for us. I'm aware that some of the equipment we're commissioning today have already been handed over to some community mining schemes and the Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners. The addition of these 100 equipment will go a long way to facilitate clean mining in the small-scale sector. It is our intention to procure some 300 more of these equipment under the National Alternative Employment and Livelihood Program for use in the various communities where the program is being implemented. Our goal is to eliminate gradually the use of mercury in small-scale mining and help realize the objectives of the Minamata Convention on Mercury. Ladies and gentlemen, let me reiterate once again a clear message. The Akufo-Addo government is not against small-scale mining. On the contrary, the government is in full support of responsible small-scale mining activities as they provide avenues for Ghanaians to participate in the mining industry and contribute substantially to the development of our gold sector. What my government is against is any form of mining that pays no heed to the preservation of the environment, our very survival, and the legacy we seek to bequeath future generations. Government will thus continue to pursue policies and programs that will promote responsible and sustainable mining practices that contribute to national development. It is my hope, and indeed that of most Ghanaians, that beneficiaries of these equipment will put them to good use for their own benefit and for the benefit of the country. Accordingly, ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to declare the 100 gold Kachak equipment duly commissioned. Let us use them for sustainable green mining. And let us all come together on Friday the 10th of June to plant 20 million trees for a greener future for our beautiful country. May God bless us all in our homeland Ghana and make her great and strong. I thank you for your attention.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of